Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jam Vishnupad Brahmans Parivrajacharya Stodar Jatish Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nidai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, and text number 27. Namo Akinchana Vittaya Nivratta Gunavrattaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kaivalya Bhadaye Namaha. Namo Akinchana Vittaya Nivratta Gunavrattaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kaivalya Bhadaye Namaha. Namo Kinchana Vittaya Nivratta Gunavrattaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kaivalya Bhadaye Namaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. My obeisances are unto you, who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self-satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and are master of the monies. Translation with repetition. My obeisances are unto you, who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self-satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and are master of the monies. Purport. So it's a long purport. We'll just read a little bit and then during our discussion we'll cover the points. Purport. A living being is finished as soon as there is nothing to possess. Therefore, a living being cannot be, in the real sense of the term, a renouncer. A living being renounces something for gaining something more valuable. Student sacrifices childish proclivities to gain better education. Servant gives up his job for a better job. Similarly, a devotee renounces the material world, not for nothing, but for something tangible and spiritual value. Srila Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami and others gave up their worldly pomp and prosperity for the sake of the service of the Lord. They were big men in the worldly sense. The Goswamis were ministers in the government service of Bengal. And Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was the son of a big jamindar of his time. But they left everything to gain something superior to what they previously possessed. The devotees are generally without material prosperity, but they have a very secret treasure house in the lotus feet of the Lord. There is a nice story about Srila Sanatana Goswami. So I'll discuss that story also, and we'll start our discussion at this point. We'll start with the prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So we are reading this section from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the teachings of Queen Kunti. And last time we discussed Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shribi Edmana Madapuman Nevarhatya Bidhatum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. So where Kunti Maharani was saying that one who gets all this good birth, higher education, good beauty, riches, then that person can become little intoxicated by all of those things. And then he can get deviated from the path of Krishna consciousness, the spiritual path. And we discussed in detail, it is not about that the things itself, rich or beauty or good birth, but being very possessive about all of that and not having the right attitude about having those things is the problem. Not that those things itself are in themselves a problem. So we discussed in detail, and in continuation to that, as Kunti Maharani said, Tvam Akinchana Gocharam, in the previous verse, she is continuing the verse saying, Namo Akinchana Vittaya Nivratta Gunavrattaye. That Lord, I offer my obeisances unto you, Namo, the Lord. Which Lord? Who is Akinchana Vittaya. Akinchana Vittaya means, Vitta means the wealth. We say Vitta Mantri, the finance minister. So, whose wealth, whose property that Lord is? He is the wealth of Akinchan, those who are materially impoverished. So I bow down. Kunti Maharani is offering obeisances to that Lord who is the wealth of materially impoverished. So this is one of the feature of the Lord. He is the property of the Akinchanas, materially impoverished. And then another characteristic of the Lord has been explained, Nivratta Gunavrattaye, meaning he has nothing to do with the actions and reactions of these material modes of nature. Gunavrattaye, he is Nivratta, he is beyond this influence of the three modes, unlike all of us. We are all acting in this world under the influence of some or other mode. Lord is beyond the modes. So he is Nivratta Gunavrattaye, and also Lord is Atma Ramaya, he is self-satisfied. And then he is Shantaya. Shantaya means he is the most gentle. So these are all different qualities and characteristics of the Lord. And then he is also Kavalyapataye Namaha, he is the master of the monists. So these are the different points that Kunti Maharani is bringing. Let us discuss one by one. So Lord is the property of Akinchana, materially impoverished. Prabhupada starts here, the purport, saying that a living being is finished as soon as there is nothing to possess. So we had to possess something. How we can be completely materially impoverished? Then there is no existence for the living entity. So Prabhupada is saying, therefore, a living being cannot be in the real sense of the term a renouncer. So many times people might get scared that, this Krishna consciousness is too dangerous. Because here it is said, Akinchana Vittaya, Lord is the property of the materially impoverished. So if you want Lord in our life, then we have to become completely impoverished, materially speaking. But Prabhupada is saying that living entity cannot be in the real sense of the term a renouncer. And then Prabhupada is giving the good examples here, saying we renounce something to attain something more valuable. Prabhupada is saying like a child, he gives his childish proclivities when he go to the higher school and the college, then he stop playing for gaining the good education. A servant give up the job to get a better job. So he's not just giving for nothing. We have to give up, materially impoverished we have to become, but it doesn't mean that we possess nothing. we become like a pauper. No, a devotee does not become pauper because he is materially impoverished. But devotee is a richest pauper. Now this is little what they call it, contradictory statements. Richest pauper. Materially they are impoverished, but still they possess something very valuable. So Prabhupada is bringing that point here, that a devotee renounces the material world not for nothing, but for something tangible in spiritual value. So that's the point here. So materially, devotees are not after all this material richness or material opulence. They give up if sometimes they have, but not for nothing, but they gain something very valuable. So that is the point here. An example is given here. The example of Goswamis, Rupa Goswamis, Sanatana Goswamis. They are the ministers. But when they got in touch with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they got so fascinated that they decided that there's no point of continuing this job as a minister. Very reputed position. And they decided to give up that position. And Rupa Goswami escaped. And then Sanatana Goswami also stopped going to the work. And then this king, Nawab Hussain Shah, he came, he said, hey, why you are not coming for work? Say, no, I'm sick. I'm on a sick leave. But how long you can apply that sick leave? Few days he waited. And one day when this king walks in and he found that he is all good, no sickness, he's nicely sitting and reading Bhagavatam with some other devotees. Say, what is this? And then he put him into the jail. And then we know the story that how Sanatana Goswami managed to escape by bribing the jailkeeper and all of that. And finally he reached, it's a long story, and then finally he reached to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? On the way, Sanatana Goswami met one of his relative, his brother, and he offered him a very valuable woolen blanket. And then he carried that and he reached to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very happy. He welcomed him by embracing him. That, my dear Sanatana, you have come. I have been waiting for you. And Lord embraces him. And the Sanatana Goswami was feeling very embarrassing. That now, my dear Lord, you should not touch my body. My body is so contaminated, because when Sanatana Goswami for many, many days, he was walking through the forest, he developed some kind of disease, some boils on his body, and some pus was oozing out from that. And Lord is embracing. So he said, no, Lord, you should not touch my body. I am so contaminated. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that by embracing you, by touching your body, I will purify myself. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is setting an example. And then he ordered some of his, personal associates that take care of Sanatana Goswami, give him some good cloth and all of that. So then he was, shaven, hat shaved, and is living. But he was carrying that one blanket, which are still one possession was there. And then after a few days, Sanatana Goswami could sense that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always look at my blanket. So he understood the heart of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then one day he goes, and there was a beggar sitting, and he says, can you exchange this woolen blanket with, and this beggar was having one very, torn and like that, some blanket. He says, can you please exchange with this? And then he exchanged, and then he came back with the torn blanket. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, where is your blanket? He says, my dear Lord, I already given. That was the only possession. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very happy. So Lord becomes the property of materially impoverished. And Goswamis has shown, this by their examples, that how even a smallest or something little possession also they gave up, so that they can become very, very close and very dear to the Lord. So this is what, so like all the Goswamis are like that. We are talking about Sanatana Goswami, but all the Goswamis are like that. Raghunath Das Goswami, who was a son of a very rich father. In those days, they are the big Jamindars, Govardhan Majumdar and Hiranya Majumdar, the uncle and the father. And in those days, they were earning like thousands of gold coins per month, every month. And then story happens like there was some conflict and some clash and all of that. But this Raghunath Das Goswami was the only son of such a rich father. But somehow he was not interested in all this wealth and all of those things. Since he heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was so attracted and so fascinated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he decided that I'll give up my family and all these things and I'll join. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed him that you should go back and you should live with your family, but live in a way like a pound and shilling man. Like externally, you should look like, you're so much interested in all this money and all these worldly things. But inside your heart, you can be completely renounced. Like that. And so, this Raghunath Das Goswami is another example that how he was akinchana vitta. He is akinchana, materially impoverished. So, material impoverishment is not necessarily that you don't possess anything. And last time also we were discussing. It's not about the possessions. It's about the possessiveness. So Raghunath Das Goswami, he possesses. He was a son of a rich father. But from his heart, he was completely renounced. He was not at all interested. All these Goswamis, Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, all these Goswamis, they are all rich ministers. But they are not interested in all of those things in their heart. So it's not about that one should not have anything. We have many examples. Like, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, Amrish Maharaj. They are all kings. And they are all great devotees. So akinchana meaning not necessarily that you should not have anything. But you should not possess. It's not about not possess, but should not be possessive about your possessions. That is the meaning. So we can have whatever Krishna has blessed us with, but we should utilize that in the service of Krishna. So Goswamis are the examples. And then the Srinivas Acharya, he glorifies the Goswamis. How he glorifies in Sat Goswami Astak? We're discussing other day also, right? Tyaktva Turnamasesh Mandalbhati Shrenim Sada Tuchabat Bhutva Deen Ganesh Kau Karunaya Kopin Kantashrito Gopi Bhavara Samrata Lahari Kallola Magnav Mohor Vande Rupa Sanadana Raghuyuga Shri Jiva Gopalaka. So all these Sat Goswamis are glorified. How? Tyaktva Turna Masesh Mandalpati. They are not ordinary people. They are Mandalpatis. Like they are in big positions and rich and power and everything or influence. But Tyaktva Turnam. They are given everything. All their power, position, everything. And then Shrenim Sada Tuchavat. And they are living like Tucha. Like very insignificant. They are treating themselves as very poor. Right? And then Bhutva Deen Ganesha Karunaya Kopini Kantashrita. Why they are given all of that? So that Bhutva Deen Ganesha Karunaya. Out of their compassion, they want to help the people, the conditioned souls. For that, what they have accepted? Kopina. Their only possession is just loin cloth, just to cover them a little bit. That's the only possession they keep. And rest, they have given up everything. But after giving up, did they really become like a beggar? Or very poor, wretched, impoverished? Materially speaking, yes. But their real richness is this. Gopi bhav rasam ratabdi lahari kallola magnav mohor. Though they have given up all the material possessions, but their possession is this. They are always merged in the ecstatic ocean of the gopis' love for Krishna. That is their real possession. So the devotee is the richest pauper. He possesses nothing materially, but still he is the richest person. Why? Because devotee carries Krishna in heart. Sadhavo hridayam mahyam sadhunam hridayam tuham mad anyatte na jananti na ham tebhyo manakapi. As the Bhagavatam explains, Sadhavo hridayam mahyam. The Lord says that sadhu always carry me in their heart. One who carries Krishna in the heart, he is the richest person. Materially speaking, he might be not possessing anything. Sadhavo hridayam mahyam sadhunam hridayam tuham. And in reciprocation, what happens? Krishna says, all the sadhus, all my devotees, I carry them in my heart. No, Krishna carries the devotees and devotee carries the Krishna. So devotee is not poor. he might be materially speaking very impoverished, but still he is very rich. So that is what is the devotee's position. So, so this example is coming here. Prabhupada is writing, they have left everything. So how they left everything? So Prabhupada writes here, the devotees are generally without material prosperity, but they have a very secret treasure house in the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is their treasure, Krishna's lotus feet, the service, and they carry Krishna's lotus feet in their heart. That is what is their real, wealth. So devotees are not poor; they are actually the richest pauper. Okay, so this is akinchana vittaya. So I was just reading this purport and trying to understand this akinchana. So there are different understanding of akinchana that Prabhupada brings. So one understanding is Prabhupada says akinchana means one who has nothing to give materially. Like you don't possess anything materially, then what you can give materially? You are akinchana, you are materially impoverished. But a devotee, a sadhu, he cannot give anything materially, but he can give you Krishna, because his only possession is Krishna. So many times people go to sadhus, say, Guruji, Swamiji, Maharajji, Prabhuji, this problem, that problem, some problem, can I get a good job, some business may something should happen, and all of that. A sadhu, the genuine sadhu, the real sadhu cannot give you all those things, because he has nothing to do with all those material things. So one should be very intelligent when we approach a sadhu, a devotee. What we should ask? You should ask only what he can give. And what he can give is the most valuable thing he can give. He can give us Krishna. So that is one of the meaning of akinchana. So in this connection, this story comes. Sanatana Goswami's story that Prabhupada quotes in the purport, that how this Brahmana who did some tapasya, and then Lord Shiva was pleased, and then he appeared. He says, I need some prosperity. So he says, go to this Sanatana Goswami who is sitting at the bank of the Yamuna. So go and he will give you something very valuable. So this Brahmana goes and he meets Sanatana Goswami who was sitting in his chanting. And then he says, okay, Lord Shiva asked me to reach out to you. I need something. He says, okay, no problem. Go to that, the whole heap of trash, and you'll find one stone. Take that stone. So he goes, there's a big heap of some kachra, and he takes out one stone. This is a touchstone, Chintamani. And then he touched that stone to the metal. Immediately that metal turned into the gold. And he was so happy. He said, wow, this is wonderful. And he says, thank you. And then he started walking out. And on the way he realized that if this is the most valuable thing, then why this sadhu was keeping it into the trash, in that garbage? It means that sadhu is hiding something even more valuable. I should ask for that valuable thing. Something more is there with him. Otherwise, if it is the most valuable, why put in the kachra? He goes back and he says, looks like you are hiding something more valuable. He says, yes, I have something more valuable. So can you give me that? He says, yes, I can give you. But first you should throw this stone on the Yamuna, on the river. So he said, okay. He threw somehow, and having faith in the words of sadhu. And then he says, now come and I'll give you the most valuable thing. He says, okay, now take this mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then he initiated him into chanting the holy name. That is the most valuable thing for a sadhu. And actually speaking for everyone. The only thing is sadhu understand that. People doesn't understand. So the sadhu, that is their real wealth. So this is akinchan. One of the meaning is he doesn't have anything to give you materially. He can give you Krishna. Another meaning of akinchan is, like as a direct meaning is, meaning means no possession. Akinchan is the one who doesn't possess anything. He doesn't have anything. Some examples we can think of from the scriptures. One of the example is Sudama. Sudama is the most, poor and the wretched devotee, materially speaking, right? But that his poverty became his wealth. Because of his poverty, his wife was pushing him that you should go and meet Krishna. Your friend Krishna he's the king, should go. So the wife was pushing, and then this Sudama was not, really got interested in, okay, yeah, I should go to Krishna, ask something. But he took that as an opportunity that, okay, I should go to Krishna and see him. It's been many, many years. After their Gurukul, they never met again. So he thought that as an opportunity. This poverty actually resulted in taking him to Krishna, close to Krishna, and meeting Krishna. And that was his real wealth. Not that Krishna made him into some rich person, something like that. And then Krishna, we know that story, that how Krishna treated him and gave him all the wonderful reception. And then while he was returning back, and Krishna he made him the king of the three worlds. That much of opulence he has given. But Sudama did not consider that as the real richness. His happiness was that I could meet Krishna. So this is one of the example of akinchana, those who have no possession. Sudama is one example. There is another example comes of the great devotee in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. His name is Sridhar Kolavecha. So this devotee, his name is Kolavecha, means kola comes from that kela. Kela is banana. In Bengali they kola. So he used to sell bananas. And he was very poor person. Somehow he was just maintaining himself, selling some banana, not much business. In that also whatever earns, 50% he will donate. Somehow he was not able to maintain himself. In that also he was giving 50% for worshipping the Mother Ganges. Like that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very impressed by seeing his, his simplicity, his humility and his renunciation. Like this is already such a poor person. And his possession was just one bowl he was having. It's like a multi-purpose bowl. We are like multi-purpose hall. Right? He has multi-purpose bowl. In that only he'll eat. In that only he will drink water. In that only he'll cook and all that. That's all was his possession. His cloth were also some little cloth covering, and there are so many holes in this cloth. And the kind of hut where he was living, it was also leaking from the top in the rainy season and all of that. And now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day he'll go. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu go out in the street, he'll meet this and he's selling bananas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes, okay, what you are selling is a banana. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, engage him some loving, some pastimes. He'll ask that how much you are selling it for. Then he'll tell the price. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will bargain with him. He says, you are looting the people, you are robbing the people. So expensive you are selling this. No, I'll give you less price or something like that. And then he said, no, this is not like I'll not be, it will go in loss. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay, no, I want to give, you have to sell this, that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will snatch. He say, okay, I'm giving you this much money. Then he'll say, okay, now you take. So like that, they're very loving reciprocations. And that is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was like very, very impressed. And later in this Mahaprakash Leela, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, calling out all the devotees, okay, what do you want and all that. Then he says, okay, where is this Sridhar Kolavecha? And then devotees are looking that where he is. He is somewhere out. And he says, oh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is calling. He said, no, I am not even qualified to come close to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I cannot come. He said, no, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is calling you. Come inside. And then he came inside. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I have taken so much from you, right? And I did not pay you enough price. Today I'll pay all your price. Tell me what you want. Right? And the Sridhar Kolavecha says, what I want. Like in the similar expression of like Vritrasur was asked by the Lord what you want. And then Vritrasur, though he was a demon, but a great devotee. So when he was asked, he said, Na naka prashtam na chaparameshtam, na sarvabhaumam na rasadhipatyam, na yoga siddhir apunar bhavamba samanjashatva avirhaya kangshe. So he said, Na naga prashtam, I don't want a naga prashtam like something, some heavenly planets. Na parameshtam, the Brahma Loka. Sarvabhauma means the king of the whole world. Rasadhipatyam, or any lower planetary, you make me the king of some lower planetary systems. Na yoga siddhim. Yoga siddhi I don't want. Apunar bhavamva. Apunar bhavam means the free from the cycle of birth and death. Nothing I want. So that was the similar. The scholar which was saying, I don't want anything. What I want is, I want you. So that is their possession. Devotees are very intelligent. And devotees should become intelligent. You ask something material, then it's a bad deal. You ask something when you go to the king and you ask some some cents. King will also say, what kind of a foolish person he is. He doesn't know even how to ask. I am the king, I can give him whatever he wants, but he's asking some few cents. So devotee should never ask anything to the Lord which is material. But what if we have to ask is, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, and that or that ahetukhi bhakti. So we should always ask that somehow or other if I can be engaged in the service of the Lord, and that is what is the real wealth of the devotee. Materially speaking, devotee is very impoverished, but his wealth is Lord's lotus feet, Lord's service. So this is another meaning of akinchan. So, and then another meaning of akinchan as we are discussing, if you have a lot of possessions, the devotees, those who have a lot of possessions, they can also be akinchana, impoverished. Like you are giving the examples of great kings, and they are the great devotees. So they are also akinchana, they have the possessions, but there is no possessiveness. So like that we can understand this possessions like that. And then this example is coming here. So Sanatana Goswami could easily give up that touchstone. He was not interested. Why? How the devotees, the sannyasis and all of them, how they can so easily can give up all of those things. So Prabhupada says here, one thing Prabhupada writes, this specific example is given for the neophyte devotee just to convince them that material hankerings and spiritual advancement go ill together. If anybody is interested in spiritual advancement, then one should give up all these material hankerings. And these devotees, they can easily give up this material hankerings. How they give up? Like this example comes of this Bharat Maharaj in the 5th canto. Bharat Maharaj is glorified. How is glorified? He is glorified through this verse. He says, Yo dustyajan dara sutan surda rajyam hridisprasaha jahu yuva eva malvat uttam shloka lalasaha. So what has been explained, this Bharat Maharaj was a great king. So dustyajan dara sutan, he easily gave up. Dara means the beautiful wife. Sutan means nice children. Suhrda means the well-wisher. Rajya means his kingdom. And Hriday Sparshaha, all his desires in the heart, everything he could give up. Jahau Yuva Eva. Though he was very young, and generally, when people are young, they're very passionate about what they want and all of that. So in young age, he gave up all of that. How he gave up? The example is coming like Malvat. Malvat means when a person in the morning he goes to, attend the nature's calls, and he just leave everything, and he doesn't even look. He doesn't feel like, oh my God, something is missing now. He feels even happy by just, leaving that mal aside. So this Bharat Maharaj, he gave up all of this Rajyam, Suta, Dara and everything like Malvat. Like somebody is just passing this to like that. How they can do this? How is it possible? Because Uttama Shloka Lalasaha. In their heart there is one lalasa, there is one desire. That desire is for Uttama Shloka, for the Supreme Lord. So one who has this desire to attain the Supreme Lord, that person can easily give up all these material possessions. Otherwise it remains very theoretical. Right, to give up this and then materially impoverished. We all have some or other desires. It may not be sometimes gross desires, some subtle desires. But how we can give up those desires? So it is not about focusing on giving up the desires, but it is more about, developing the right desires. The desire of the Lord, to serve the Lord, to serve the Guru and Krishna. When those desires actually increases in our heart, then automatically all other desires will have no place in our heart. So no possessions. Actually, Prabhupada writes beautifully in, I think 2.70 or somewhere about the desire, that the goal of a devotee is not being desireless. People think, we should become desireless. We cannot become desireless. We have to develop the desire to serve the Lord. That is the goal of devotee. So then devotee can easily give up all of that. So Prabhupada writes here, Krishna is akinchana vitta, the only solace for one who has lost everything material. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Krishna says, if someone wants me, but at the same time wants material prosperity, he is a fool. Who is a fool? Someone wants me, we all say, yes, we want Krishna. But at the same time, he desires this material prosperity. He is a fool. Actually, this verse comes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, says, Krishna kahe ami bhaje, mage vishya sukh. Krishna kahe ami bhaje, mage vishya sukh. Amrata chadi vishya mage, ehi bada murkh. So what Krishna is saying? Krishna ka hai, Ami bhaje. He is worshipping me, chanting my name. Ami bhaje, mage Vishaya Sukh. At the same time, he is asking this Vishaya Sukh, Bhautik Sukh. Then that person is Amrata Chadi Vishamage. He is giving the nectar and is asking for the poison. Ei bada murkh. He is a foolish guy. Leaving the nectar aside and asking for all this poison, these material things. But then Krishna says, Ame Vigya. He is a fool, but I am not fool. Ame Vigya. I am very intelligent. Ame Vigya ei murkhe. Kena Vishadiva. Says, why should I give this poison to this murkh? Ame Vigya. I am intelligent. So, ei murkhe kena Vishadiva. Swacharnamrata diya Visha bulaiva. Rather, I'll give him Swacharnamrata. I'll give him the taste of my lotus feet, the Charnamrata. And then once the devotee, he tasted the nectar of the lotus feet of the Lord, then Vishaya Bulaiva, automatically he'll forget everything of these worldly things. So the goal is, somehow or other, if we can taste, we can relish some real taste of Seva, Namjap, Krishna Katha, and all of those things, then automatically Vishaya Bulaiva will forget all this Visha. So, like that. So, to lose material opulence for Krishna's sake is not a loss. To lose material opulence for Krishna's sake is not a loss. Rather, it is the greatest gain. When one becomes akinchana, having nothing to possess, Krishna becomes one's only riches. So, we don't become loser. Because you have nothing, then Krishna becomes only riches. And Narottam Das Thakur says this song, Aha Prabhu Nanda Sutta Brashabhanu Sutta Yuta Karuna Karha Ai Bar Narottam Dasa Kahe Na Theliya Ranga Paye Toma Bina Ke Ache Amar. So he's saying, Krishna, but for you I have nothing to claim. I have no possessions, you are only my possession. So please don't neglect me. So devotee's possession should be only Krishna. Don't neglect me. And Prabhupada says very beautifully, he said this position is very nice. When one does not depend on anything material, but simply depends on Krishna, one has attained the first class position of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Krishna is addressed as Akinchana Vitta. When one becomes materially impoverished, you are the only wealth. Namo Kinchan Vittaya Nivratta Gunavratte. So this is a very nice position Prabhupada is saying here. So devotee is never a loser. Krishna becomes his only possessions. And the example is, we can talk about this example of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada actually quotes this. That how Krishna showed the special favor, and then Prabhupada quotes this verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yasya ham anugrahanami harishye tad dhanam janai tato adhanam tyajanti yasya swajana dukkha dukkhitam. So when Krishna shows a special favor on a devotee, Yasham anugrahanami harishye tad dhanam janai. I take away everything from the devotee. And Prabhupada says that I was that one. Krishna took away everything. And when everything is taken away from the devotee, tato adhanam. When you have nothing, adhanam, you become completely impoverished materially. Then, tyajanti asya swajana. Then your swajana also, your people, your friends, your family, they'll also give up. Say, this person is useless. What is the point of maintaining any relation with this person? He has nothing. So, tato dhanam tyajanti asya swajana dukkha dukkhitam. So, there's own people, relatives, family, friends, everyone, rejects that person. Then that person has no one except Krishna. So his only possessions becomes Krishna. So that is a very nice position. So like that. So this is about Akinchana Vittaya, materially impoverished. So what we are understanding here is, materially sometimes we have to give up something, but still devotee is not a loser. He doesn't really become a poor. He becomes actually richest. You give up this prosperity, material prosperity, then you have the spiritual wealth, and that is Krishna. So devotee become the richest pauper. And then Nivratta Gunavrattaye. I'll just quickly summarize 2-3 more minutes. So Nivratta Gunavrattaye means Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has nothing to to do in this world, action and reactions. Whatever Krishna does in this material world, none of those activities are material activities. All his activities are spiritual activities. But one who understands, at Krishna says 4.9. What Krishna says? What is 4.9? Janma karma cha me devyam evam yo vedi tattvataha. Krishna janma, Krishna's karma, Krishna's activities, everything is divyam, transcendental. One who knows that, he never takes birth again. So Krishna's activities are nivritta guna vritta. He is free from all this guna, influence of the modes of material nature. And in fact, there is another verse comes in the same 4th chapter. Anybody remembers what Krishna says? Just to give you the hint. Namam. No. Namam karmani limpanti. Name karma phales praha. Yo mam abhijanati. Na karma se vidyate. So Krishna says, Namam karmani limpanti. Though he might be doing a lot of things in this world, but Namam karmani limpanti. He doesn't get entangled into the karma bandhan, like people like us, all of us. We are working under the influence of the modes. Krishna is beyond all that. Na karma phala spraha. He doesn't want any karma phal. Yo mam yo bhi abhijanati. One who knows this, he'll also become free from the karma bandhan. There are similar words in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Some recall of Bhagavad Gita verses. Krishna does a lot of things, but he is not working under the influence of these modes. Nivratta guna vritta. It comes after, just to give you the hint, where Krishna explains yadi yada acharati Richest. Why Krishna is also acting in this world. Krishna says yadi yada acharati Richest means the leaders has to set the right examples. So after that, 3.22, where Krishna says, Na me parthasti kartavyam trishu lekeshu kanchana. Oh, son of Pratha, trishu lokeshu kanchana. In this all 3 words, there is nothing for me that I have to do. I'm beyond all these do's and don'ts. Nana vaptam avaptavyam vart evaja karmani. I don't want anything. Nana vaptam avaptavyam. Nothing to be gained. But still I'm working. Why I'm working? To set the right example. So one should not think, oh, Krishna is working because he has to work here in this world. He is nivratta guna vritta. He is free from all these gunas. And then he is Atma Ramaya. He is self-satisfied. Krishna, one of the quality of Krishna is he is self-satisfied. It doesn't need anything. But Krishna still accepts our offerings. It's not that he needs our offerings. Why he accepts? Because we need that we should offer to Krishna so that we get benefited. So Krishna is self-satisfied. Nothing he wants. So Prabhupada writes here, when one takes you means one takes Krishna as one's only possessions, one immediately becomes free from the activities of the material nature. In other words, by accepting Krishna in this way, one attains the transcendental position of the absolute Atma Ramaya. At that time, one becomes happy. So Krishna is Atma Ram, and those who are the devotees of Krishna, if they take Krishna as the only possessions, they can also become Atma Ram. Krishna is self-satisfied, and the devotee can also be satisfied. Not self-satisfied, but he can be satisfied with Krishna. Then nothing he wants of this world. So Prabhupada is writing, at that time one becomes happy with you, Krishna. You are happy with yourself, and one who surrenders to you becomes happy. So this is Atma Ramaya, and then Krishna is Shantaya. Shantaya means he is the most gentle. Krishna is very, very gentle. There's many examples of Krishna's gentleness. One of the example is Krishna very easily forgives all the offenses. Like the example, like Prabhupada gives the example of like a mother, a small child, one mother carries in the lap. The mother forgives all the hittings. The child sometimes, keep hitting the mother. Sometimes you see in the temple only. Some of the kids like they're too aggressive or something. They'll just, slap on their face only. Father or mother. Like if somebody comes and slap you on your face, you'll be so offended and you'll get into fighting and all of that. But a child, while mother is carrying, they just keep slapping, something like that. But mother doesn't feel bad, doesn't feel offended. Just keep forgiving every time. You know, she might get hurt, but still she doesn't take it offensive like that. So Krishna is very, very gentle. He forgives all our offenses. Like every day we are doing so many offenses, so many different kind of aparad. First of all, every morning we start our morning with aparad only. What is that aparad? Nam aparad. To be inattentive while chanting the holy name of the Lord. Now, how many of our we are inattentive while chanting? Everyone is inattentive only. So that is the aparad. Despite all that aparad we are doing every day, Krishna is so kind and so gentle. He is allowing us to chant every day. So that is Krishna's gentleness. He says, okay, no problem. Like, child is eating. He says, no problem. I'll carry you in my lap. You keep eating. No problem. So we are doing aparad. Nam aparad. So many aparad. We go for prasadam. Sometime you don't like something. Say, oh, this is not good. You throw that prasadam. Aparad. Krishna's prasadam is not different from Krishna. I didn't like Krishna today. Throw in garbage. Big aparad. Right? Sometimes you like, but you took more. You already overate. Something is left. Oh, I cannot eat. Throw Krishna into garbage. That is what most of us many times unconsciously, consciously, we do that. So like that, many aparad. When we do deity worship, that certain standard of cleanliness has to be maintained. Certain consciousness has to be maintained. Sometimes we may not be in the right consciousness, right cleanliness. Krishna is still allowing us to do all of those things. So a lot of aparad. So Krishna is Shantaya. He is very gentle. He says, no problem. Come. So what you are doing, I'm happy. Right? And then he is Kavalyapate Namaha. He is the Lord of all is monist. So Prabhupada writes here, I'll just read the last paragraph which we are reading yesterday from Nectar of Devotion. I'll explain that also. But Prabhupada brings another very important point, that all this Kavalyapa, the impersonalists, these Mayavadis, they want to become one with the Lord. So for them also is the Lord. He says, okay, you want to one become with me? Okay, no problem. I allow you. But the real oneness, Prabhupada explains, for a devotee, the real oneness is you become one with the intentions of the Lord. You harmonize with the will of the Lord. That is the real oneness. That, okay, Krishna wants this, and you say, I also want this only. Whatever Krishna wants, that is what I want. That is what is the real oneness for a devotee. For a Mayavadi, they want to merge. They want to, they want to merge and finish their existence, their individuality. So Prabhupada explains, yesterday we were reading in Anodi, it says, all these great acharyas and devotees, they are compared with a shark in the great ocean of nectar, who do not care for the various rivers of liberation. So impersonalists are very fond of merging into the supreme, like rivers that comes down and merge into the ocean. Ocean can be compared with liberation, and the rivers with all the different paths of liberation. The impersonalists are dwelling in the river water, which eventually comes to mix with the ocean. Okay, I'll explain this if it is sounding very complex. So there are innumerable aquatic living entities. The devotees eternally live in the ocean of devotional service, and they do not care for the rivers. In other words, those who are pure devotees always remain in the ocean of transcendental loving service to the Lord and have no business with the other processes. So basically what is happening here, what is explained is, this Kavalyapate, this Mayavadis, their understanding is, they take some path. The paths are compared with the rivers. The different paths, different rivers are coming and they are merging into the ocean. Ocean is compared to the liberation. So all this path, the Mayavadi path and some other path, they are coming and they want to merge into the Supreme, merge into the ocean. So that is Mayavadi understanding. But a devotee understanding is, they are not interested in coming and merging into the river. But what the Mayavadi lacks the understanding, after merging, they merge like, the devotees merge like the shark, the different aquatics. So they say, we go and merge and you lose your identity, your individuality. But Prabhupada explained, the devotee's understanding is, you go and merge into the ocean, meaning like a shark, like an aquatic, meaning you doesn't lose your individuality. You remain in the ocean like a fish. So this is what is said here, that the devotee eternally live in the ocean of devotional service and do not care for the rivers. In other words, those who are pure devotees always remain in the ocean of transcendental loving service of the Lord. That is the understanding of devotee of this Kavalyapate Namaha. Devotees also say that, okay, Lord is Kavalyapati. But my one understanding is we'll go and merge into the Lord. Devotee says we'll go and engage in the service of the Lord eternally. So these are some of the points that we are discussing here today. So Kunti Maharani is glorifying the Supreme Lord. Namo Kinchana Vittaya Nivritta Gunavrittaye Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kevalya Padaye Namaha. So Lord is the property of materially impoverished. He is free from all the influence of modes. He is Atma Rama, self-satisfied. He is very gentle, and then he is Kavalyapade. So some of the thoughts. We'll stop here unless anybody has any quick question or any comment. Anybody wants to? Yes. Okay, so why we are not always grateful to Krishna while Krishna has done so many things to us? On the other hand, some person in this world, if they do little bit, we feel so grateful to them. But Krishna has done so much more. Why we are not able to feel that gratitude? So the simple answer is familiarity breed contempts. Become so familiar, we start taking for granted things like that. That is why the solution is every day we hear that Prabhupada has given us the system. That morning sadhana program we chant, we hear, we read the books. It reminds us again and again that what we are so insignificant in this world. We have no power, we have no position, nothing we have. Whatever we have is all Krishna's grace. So our condition is like that we forget, we are not grateful. But then again we read and we hear and we try to develop that gratitude. So this is the nature, this is the conditioned soul. Conditioned soul by nature is forgetful. We forget. Even the material person also is doing something, you might forget after a while. And if you start doing every day something for you, you start taking for granted. Like our parents, say for example, materially speaking, they have done so much. But we really don't, feel that gratitude. Sometime on some special days, Mother's Day, Father's Day, you'll remember, oh, my mother, my father is so nice and they've done so much. But you constantly don't carry those feelings in the heart. So family, you think they had to do. Especially in this modern age kid, they doesn't even, recognize their endeavors and their efforts. They say, you are the parents, you had to do this. Like they think this is our claim, this is like our right. You have to do that. So yes, they had to do, but still there is a feeling of gratitude. So this gratitude is a practice. Sometimes we feel naturally, but sometimes we don't feel. We have to practice this gratitude. Not to just only to Krishna or someone like that. Or Prabhupada, definitely we have to do. But even the devotees around us, we can practice this gratitude. This is a great practice. They say those who are not grateful, they're grateful. So we don't want to become grateful. So rather we become. So this is a practice. We remind ourselves every day that Krishna is doing something. Krishna has done so much. And like that we develop slowly. Okay. Yeah, so how to avoid that familiarity? Familiarity can come anywhere and it happens. This is the condition nature. So familiarity means we have to maintain the safe, respectable distance. Familiarity comes when you become too close and you start forgetting your boundaries. That is when the familiarity comes. So the way is we should follow some etiquettes. That is why there is Vaishnava etiquettes are given. Why we have to say Hare Krishna to everyone. Why we see some senior devotees. We bow down to them. It's a practice. There's some etiquettes are inculcated in our system, in our daily practice, wherein we don't become familiar. Some senior devotees there, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So then that reminds us that, okay, this is what is my line. I should not be crossing this line. So those etiquettes helps to not become familiar like that. Yeah, so that is why we have to become mature spiritually. We have to read, understand, and we have to become spiritually mature. This is the conditioned nature. The person with whom you are working every day, he might be very senior to you. Then there might be some conflicts, some clashes of opinion, and then there might be some arguments sometime and all of that. So that can happen on the material platform sometime. But then we have to learn all this. We have to practice all this knowledge. That okay, this is not. Maybe sometimes some argument happened, but still, my etiquette is I have to show the respect. I have to bow down to the devotee, like that. So that needs little maturity. That needs little humility. Say, "Hey, what is this senior devotee? He doesn't know anything. He is not listening." And then you develop that kind of offensive mindset, then that is dangerous. There might be some clashes and differences. Genuinely, there might be some mistakes from other side, like some senior devotees also. It may happen. Nobody is claiming that we are perfect. But then we should not judge someone based on all those things. So we need to be humble. That okay, I'm here. So humility has to be practiced. Gratitude has to be practiced. See, when we come in the Bhagavatam class, so many things happens. One of the thing happen in the Bhagavatam class is we practice humility. If we are in the right attitude of sitting in the Bhagavatam class, meaning we sit with the mindset that okay, I'm here to learn something. Somebody is telling me something, and I'm here. I don't know anything, and let me just pay attention. Let me learn something, and let me get benefited. That should be the consciousness. That should be the attitude when we come in the Bhagavatam class. So all this, see, these things has to practice. Otherwise, daily Bhagavatam class is there. Whose class today? Oh, that devotee. I'm not interested. That can be the attitude. Not very grossly we say like that, but in our mind say, oh, this devotee is talking and something will talk. If that devotee gives the class, then I'll go and listen. It's a very offensive mentality. So we get the chance to practice this gratitude in the Bhagavatam class. And then humility we have to practice. We sit down humbly. 1 hour we are sitting. Now our mind might be running here, there, I can do this, I am getting late, and still we are sitting there. You're becoming humble. You are allowing yourself to be there. So these are the kind of practices that Prabhupada has given us, by which we can develop all these right etiquettes, right attitude, like that. And that saves us from all this kind of unnecessary familiarity. Okay, so we'll stop here. We'll take up more questions, I think. Okay, Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Thai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.